Alright, this is the video review for the KitzConcept VF-1S Veritech fighter. It is Robotech. It is branded under Robotech. It even has the, you see the box actually says Robotech on it. It does have the Harmony Gold logo on it, which, you know, I much prefer the Macross branding, but here is Super Deformed VF-1S Roy Fokker's Veritech fighter. It's got the full transformation. I'll show all that off. It comes on a stand. It's just got some little circles on it, but it's very reminiscent of the SMS stands that came with a lot of the larger Bandai Veritechs from Macross Frontier. And you do kind of want the stand. It has them at more of an upward angle than I think I would like. I would wish there was some way to adjust this so it was facing a little more forward. But it works well, and if you're going to display him in fighter mode, you kind of have to use it because he has no landing gear. He just comes off, he pegs in right here. And with the gun pod attached, he doesn't really balance on the ground very well. You can remove the gun pod, obviously. I almost split the arms there. And if you do that, he does sit fairly flat in vehicle mode. He does have Roy sitting inside the cockpit. The cockpit does open a little bit. He is non-removable. It just opens up just a little bit so you can kind of see in there and see the detail of the cockpit. That's about as far up as you can open the cockpit. But he is in there, I promise. So yeah, he is fully transformable. You can leave the missiles on here for Battroid mode. And so we just fold in these tail fins, flip this up, flip that out, bring his legs down around. These flaps right here are kind of a soft rubber plastic, and this one is stuck. I'm going to take it apart to see if I can fix it, because this one moves freely. This one has to kind of bend to get the gearwalk mode down. But just bring that down and around. And unfortunately, they don't bend even when this flap does come all the way forward. They don't bend forward as much as I would like. You can't get them angled so the feet are facing slightly forward like they do sometimes in the show. They pretty much come down enough to support him in a standing position, but they don't tilt much more forward than that unless you untab them. Then if you untab them, it becomes unstable. So, but go ahead and untab the legs from back here. I'm going to leave it tabbed in right there. And bring them down here at the foot. Come on, you. There we go. Leave that part tapped in up top. There we go, like that. Open up the feet. You can hear them clicky jointing. And then the arms come back around and out to the side. And then over here, back out to the side. Then you open this up and flip his fists out. And close that back up. Yep. Fist out, tab that in. There he is in gearwalk mode. Again, like I said, you can't quite get him in a leaning forward position based on how the legs are, unfortunately. But his hands, his fingers are all one piece aside from the index finger, and then his thumb has an up and down joint on it. This hand over here has a little tab to hold the gun pod. There's a little slot right there in the handle that goes on a little tab. This tab's already a little stressed because of the way this end part of the gun pod, it can be a little difficult to get it on without stressing it, because it fits. This sits right up against it and puts a little pressure on it. But you can hold the gun pod here in gearwalk mode. And you got a little bit of posability there on the arms. There's a bicep swivel and an elbow swivel and wrist swivel, and there's a ball joint up at the shoulder, which is pretty cool. He does come with alternate hands you can plug in. He does come with a specific gun pod holding hand, which I honestly think I'd recommend. I like my Veritechs to have a full transformation in them. Like, I always hate having to swap out hands. I like it when I can leave the stock hands on, and you can on this one, which is nice. But if you're worried about that tab, he does come with a specific hand to hold the gun pod. We'll show those off when we get to Battroid mode. And to continue on there, we'll go ahead and just unpeg the legs completely down here. This panel right here opens up, and you can see there's just a couple metal rods that the legs are on. Kind of get the head out of the way and bring those down and around in there like that. And snap this back shut. Straighten the legs back out, clip these back together. Bring those out to the side there. Lift this up, separate all of this. This piece does flip out a little bit to make it a little easier, but you have to untab this from here and then untab this piece and get that untabbed, and then get this piece untabbed on the chest, because this whole thing, come here you, there we go. You'll see there's a little tab here you got to get loose, and that comes down and then lowers down over the cockpit here. The head passes up through, actually want to turn it around here, and extend this whole assembly to pass the head up through here. I don't know why it's being such a pain right now, but come here you. There we go. Well, I didn't have this much trouble before. You can pop the head off because he does come with a LED feature head as well. I don't know why this is being such a pain in the rear this time. We'll go ahead and pop the head off. Push this up through here. And then I'll take the missiles off the wings here. Just pop right off and set them off to the side. But this comes up, actually this will probably be a little easier for showing how everything goes together. So this comes down here, this comes up like this, the arms come all the way up and click into place up in here. This headpiece comes down and actually clips in to the back here. Just like that. There's a little tab that clips it in, and there's these two pegs sit where the stand pegged in up here on the nose cone. You can close this piece back up, fold the backpack back up, just like that. Bring this down, fold the wings down. And pop his head back on. This is the standard head for transformation. It sits there. And there he is in Battroid mode. There are some extra pieces here we can snap onto this, because right now he's fully transformable. You can leave him like this and he looks like a Battroid. He looks in his robot mode. But you can see the upper chest is very hollow from the front and sides. There is this little piece right here that can slide in. Again, you have to pop the head off to really to get this in properly. This piece can slot in right here and fill in these gaps in the body. And it kind of just clips in just like that. There we go, got it. This hinge right here had been wasn't folded up all the way. It was folded down here, and that was keeping it from locking in. So you put all that in. And then there's a couple of little angular pieces. This right here, you can see, which has a slot in it. And then, see which way this goes on. Which side goes on. There we go. There's a little hump. You want to make sure that this little divot goes on this little divot in here. But you can take this and slide it up into the body, and it'll lock into place up in there, and that just fills in the underarm, gives them a little bit more detail. Again, not necessary. These actually come detached in the package, but yeah, it's just a matter of getting this all pushed up in here. There we go. And that makes the whole thing just a little bit more sturdy. You don't have to use them, but they are there if you want to. He comes with a little cover for his cockpit, a little skull cover, and that just, you kind of lift this up and pinch it up into here. There's some little slots that will accept it. But you may need to do this before you put the shoulder pieces in. Not the shoulder pieces, there we go. Push that in, it covers up his cockpit, gives him the skull heat shield. And there he is in Battroid mode. He's got a ball joint head. You may have already seen that during the course of all this. Ball joint shoulders, which I wish came down a little bit more than that. They kind of stay leaning out like this. You can unpeg them and lower them a little bit if you want them straighter. Bicep swivel, hinge elbows, wrist swivel, the articulated fingers on these hands. Ball joints at the hip, no thigh swivel. Oh, actually, does he have a thigh swivel? It looks like he might. He does have a thigh swivel there behind the vent. Hinge knees, and then the feet click open and closed. I did mention LED features. Let's swap some hands out first. You got a couple of open-handed things that, again, you just pop these off and plug the new hand in. And then you've got the closed fists as well. And you can, if you want, pop this hand off, plug in the gun pod hand, and then just, instead of using that tab, you just slide this into the slot like that. And it holds it a little better, I think a little bit, certainly with less fear of stress on that tab here in Guardian mode. Or you can use it in Battroid mode as well, or Garwalk mode. This is Battroid mode. Anyway, you can pop this head off, put on a slightly bigger one. Pops on right here. And then on the back of this one, there's a switch to make his little visor light up. Where is it? See, there it is off. There it is on. And then the gun pod, if you push it in, it lights up the gun pod as well. And you just push it back in. Works kind of like a clicker pen. You just push it on, off. You do need two AG13 and two AG4 batteries. The packaging looks like they were supposed to be included. They actually had little, in the plastic tray inside the box, they had little divots for you to store the batteries, but there's issues with shipping things with batteries these days, so maybe they had to take those out for other purposes. Maybe mine was just missing the batteries. If you don't get them, it takes two AG13 and two AG4 batteries. I think the AG4s go in the gun pod and the 13s go in the head. But the battery compartments, you don't even have to unscrew them. There's a little fingernail slot right here. You just pop this open. There's where the batteries go in the head. And then on the gun pod, pop his head back on. There's a little bit in the front. Again, right here, there's a little place for you to get like a small screwdriver or your fingernail under, and you just pop that open, and the batteries go right in there. Very easy to install. I like batteries that don't need screws to install, because I hate having to unscrew and screw in everything every time you want to change the batteries, especially for some of these small LEDs that don't last as long. But yeah, I haven't found a way to attach the stand in robot mode. The instructions don't even tell you how to use the stand. Maybe it can sit like that. I don't know. Maybe you're not supposed to use the stand. I guess you can kind of get them in a flying forward pose like that if you want. Maybe, I don't know. If it's usable in Guardian mode or Battroid mode, I always forget the American names for all the different modes. Always confuse me. But yeah, if you use it in this mode, I don't know if you're intended to. The instructions don't give you any hints as to how to put the stand together. It's just plug it together, but how it all fits, you kind of have to just figure it out. It's a fun little toy. It's at the robotechstore.com. I think it was $70. I like a lot of it. There's a few little bits that are a little floppy or loose. It's not quite up to what you think of as good third-party quality control. Although again, it is fully licensed. It does have the Harmony Gold stamp of approval. It is a fully licensed Robotech figure. But all in all, it's a fun little toy. They are making a fast pack for it. It looks like maybe it'll plug in right there. I don't know. But they are making a fast pack kit. They do have a VF-1J on the way as well, according to their Facebook page. I've seen pictures of it. Looks all right. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting the fast pack set for this guy. But there it is. The KitzConcept Super Deformed VF-1S. Roy Fokker's mech from Robotech. Thanks to the Robotech store and KitzConcept.